So hi, I'm here to share a practice with you today called Exploring Anger. And I just want to start by telling you a little bit about why I'm sharing this and what it is before we get into what it actually is. So there's been a lot about anger in our conference this week, about the anger that brought us here, like in Ponce's talk on Tuesday when she spoke really clearly to that. And then the anger we feel about the multiple ways in which injustice seems to perpetuate in our sector. Many of the conversations we've been having so far this week have been about things that we might be feeling angry about. And there's lots of levels to that. And there might also, of course, be multiple other things in our lives and in the world that we might not have been discussing in the group, but that make us feel angry. And so sometimes it can feel like anger is all around. And at the same time, we might be feeling a bit resistant to anger or conflicted about it. And that can be particularly the case if at some point in our lives we've learned, as most of us probably have to some extent, that anger isn't good for us, or that expressing anger could be bad or dangerous for us, right? There are so many ways we can learn that from perhaps people we know well in our families when we're younger, people around us as we're growing up, or messages in the culture around us. This operates on so many levels. So what I'm going to share in this session draws really on two things. It draws on my practice as a shadow work coach and my training as a NEOM movement practitioner. And I'm just going to say a little bit about shadow work because I think it will help you to understand why I'm sharing the particular practice that I'm sharing today. So in shadow work, we draw on Carl Jung's idea of the shadow. And we can think of shadows as Carl Jung's work is depicted in the work of someone called Robert Blythe. I can put links for this later, but as a bag of qualities or characteristics that we've rejected in ourselves or that we find difficult to accept in ourselves. And the idea of the shadow bag that we're dragging behind us is that even if we've rejected a quality in ourselves, so even if we're not that comfortable with our anger or not that comfortable with another quality in ourselves, maybe our sadness or our grief, nevertheless, we're kind of dragging it along behind us metaphorically, and it might be weighing us down in some way. So just to give you an example of what that might look like, we might have learned that sadness shouldn't be expressed, shouldn't be visible. And so maybe when we're sad, we don't cry publicly, we don't show others our tears, maybe we hide them, and maybe as a result, we don't really express them in our lives at all. So the idea in shadow work is that we believe that likely if you're not expressing some part of yourself, some part of the multifaceted human being that you are, you're likely to kind of drag around the unexpressed parts of yourself. And again, obviously this is metaphoric. You don't actually have a bag, but there's this idea of, if we're not able to express our sadness, if we're not able to express our anger in ways that feel good for us, then we might find that they're kind of, the unexpressedness of them is weighing us down. And so the intention with this practice and with this type of work is that we might find a greater sense of freedom to express ourselves and take action in our real lives by exploring those feelings or emotions or things that we've maybe pushed away, maybe don't express completely in our lives. So this could, today we're going to work with anger, but this could relate to joy. Like you might find it hard to get excited and happy about things. It could relate to sadness. You might find it hard to cry. And these are different for everyone. There's no kind of judgment here that everybody in this group might find it hard to express anger. But because we've been talking a lot about things that make us angry, I just wanted to share a practice for exploring anger for those of you who want to try it out. And so the important thing to say as well is the practice I'm sharing is about expressing anger in a safe space with no real life consequences. So the intention isn't that you use this directly with someone that you're really angry with. The intention is that you either do this alone, so, and I'll talk about how you might do that in a minute, or it's possible to do this in a group, in shared space, where there's an agreement between you that this expression of anger is not meant to be towards anyone, or it's simply for the purpose of exploring our anger, right? What I found personally, the reason that I'm sharing this is that once I've been able to express anger for myself, perhaps in relation to a particular situation or something in my life, I find it easier to then kind of use that in a way that's constructive and effective. So if I can express it to myself and see, oh yeah, right, I'm actually, God, there's a lot of energy in this anger, I'm then able to make clearer decisions for myself about how to use it in my life, in my work. I can't explain that scientifically, but I do know that many rituals across the world are about expressing collective values and traditions, and many involve expressing emotions together in cathartic ways. So I think that the expression of emotion in a contained and kind of intentionally cathartic way is actually a common practice in a range of cultures around the world. And so what I'm inviting you to isn't something that's new, I don't think. It's just a way in which that you can use this, which might be accessible whoever you are, wherever you are. So before we get into the actual practice, I just wanted to share as well a few ways in which I think we might use anger positively, and this practice might help us to do these more effectively. So speaking truth would be one, fighting for justice, taking clear action, being clear about what we want to do and where we want to go with things, having boundaries. So this again relates, I think, to how we care for ourselves and the well-being, which has also been a big topic for us this week. I think saying no when we need to, and positively, like protecting our vision, the things that we want to change in the world. I think all of those are positive ways of using the energy of anger in our lives. And I think that you could probably add lots more of your own to the list. On the other hand, when we don't have a handle on how we use our anger, it can wind up directed back on us. So like constantly criticizing ourselves, telling ourselves that we did that wrong, we're not doing a good job, or it might be directed accidentally or on purpose in the world towards other people. So people in our lives, in our families, in our workplaces. And I think it can also end up with us struggling to take clear action to address injustice as it manifests in our organisations and in our work. And that relates, of course, to so many of the discussions we've been having already this week. So I'm going to show you the practice now. It's simple. If you're at work or somewhere public, you might want to watch me or listen and then do this later for yourself. Because you might want to do this somewhere where no one will disturb you. That could be at home, in your room, in your office, with the door shut, with a little sign saying, give me 5 minutes. I've also known people, and I've done this myself, to do it in somewhere like in the woods where no one's around. So find somewhere where you won't be disturbed. Or if you're doing this in a group, find a space where the group won't be disturbed. And I'm going to now, and the reason I'm not wearing my headphones this time is I'm going to now demonstrate this physically. So I want to invite you to either you can do this sitting, and if you, I'm going to give some adaptations for people that aren't able to stand in a bit, but I'm going to just give you the first thing, which is to stand first. So if you're able to stand, you can place your feet firmly on the ground and just feel them rooting into the ground. Feel yourself as stable as you can be. And we're just going to start by practicing just saying no. So very clearly, cleanly, without hesitancy. See if you can just say no. And try it a few more times and give it as much welly, if you like. Give it as much strength as you can. So there's no one listening, right? We've set this up in that way. So just say no as clearly and strongly as you can. No! And you might surprise yourself by how strong your no can be. I usually surprise myself when I do this. And then we're going to bring our bodies into it as well. So we're going to say no, but use our bodies. So follow whatever your body wants to do to support your no. You'll see what I do, and it's going to be sort of improvised here. I don't do the same thing every time I share this exercise. So you you might want to close your eyes as well and just feel it into your body. And what does your no look like right now? Your strongest, clearest no. So it might be no, or there might be like some other physical movement like no, or no, or no. Just notice when you do that. Maybe close your eyes and notice the energy running in your body. And I'm going to invite you to work with yes as well in the same way. So how would your whole body say yes? So I'll just show you an example of that. Yes! And then bringing the body in. Yes! 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 Yay! You know, you can vary it a bit. I'm just inviting you to feel your no and your yes really clearly in your body. So I just want to give an adaptation for people who aren't able to stand. So you don't have to bring your whole body into this. You can bring part of your body. So you could be seated on a chair and just place your feet firmly on the ground. And you could still maybe move the upper half of your body. You could do that in reverse with the lower half of your body too. If you're not able to move any part of your body, you can also close your eyes and just imagine yourself feeling these in your body. So imagine yourself, and you can do this if you're sitting at your desk as well and not able to move about and shout, but imagine your full no and your full clear yes in your body. So if you're not able to move but you are able to use your voice, you could use your voice but without the movement. So like, no! Yes! And likewise, if you're not able to use your voice but you can use your body, you could do that. So there are adaptations, and if anyone needs any support with that, let me know in the comments, and I will get back to you. I'm going to move us on to another piece, and I'm going to continue the demonstration with standing up, but those adaptations apply to the rest of this practice as well. So now I'm going to invite you to bring to mind something that makes you feel angry. It could be something in your life right now, in your work. It could be something in our conversations this week. It could be someone that irritated you on the way to work this morning. You don't have to tell anyone what it is, who it is, what it is. But bring to your mind something that made you feel at least a little bit angry. And then what we're going to do is we're going to express that in a similar way that we did the yes and no. But we're going to express that feeling. Now again, this can be purely physical. It could be a range of movements. I want you, if you're using your body, to just follow your body. So bring that thing to mind. And I just invite you to follow your body's way of expressing that. You can use your voice as well. You might want to talk to the person or thing that made you really angry. Remember, you're ideally in a space where no one can hear you, right? You might want to talk that in your mind if people can hear you, but you're going to express that anger in a way that you most likely wouldn't do if the person was in front of you, that you wouldn't do in real life, right? But you're going to express that anger, and I'm going to give a few. So if you're able to shout and scream, that might be useful. It might support your body in expressing the anger. If you can't or don't want to do that, you can also close your imagine yourself expressing your anger too, and notice what arises into the body. yeah, in the body, without actually doing the movements. I'm going to do this now. I'm going to bring something to my mind. I'm not going to tell you what it is. And so if you're watching and you want to practice right now with this, just bring something to your mind that made you feel angry recently or makes you feel angry in general. And then just practice following the feeling in your body to express your anger about that. And remember, it doesn't matter what it looks like. It's not about what it looks like. It's simply about expressing it. So yours might look really different from mine. I'm just going to do this now, so I won't be explaining just for a short period. So that might have looked a bit wacky, but that was me. If you just joined us, you might have to listen back to see what I was doing, but that was me expressing something that I was angry about in my body. And then what I invite you to do, if you have been practicing with me, or if you do this later, is when you finish following the movement in your body, and I invite you not to cut it short too quickly, so it might be 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, just to keep expressing what that is, the thing that you're angry about. And your anger might look completely different from mine, right? It's not about copying my movement. Yours might be big and expansive, or it might be small, and you might be doing this sitting at a desk. And so it might be just movement with the upper or lower body, or it might be entirely you using your mind to imagine this. But when you're done, when it feels done, just put your hands somewhere, or your tummy, up here, your heart, and just notice the energy running through your body. And you might want to give it a colour. Or a name so that you can remember this energy. And then just remind yourself that this energy is you, it's your life force, and you get to choose how you use it in the world and in your life. I am going to take questions about that practice in a minute, but I just want to give you an extra adaptation of this. So you can also go to writing with this. On day one in the practice that I shared on Monday, I talked about writing about feelings, and specifically about anger. Now I'm just going to give you a couple of prompts that you could work with, and you can either use this before or after this physical practice, or if you don't have the space for the physical practice, you might choose just to use these prompts separately. But one of them relates to the feeling of anger in your body, so it's probably most useful either if you've done the physical practice, or if you can at least sit and imagine the sensation of anger in your body in the moment. So the two prompts I want to give you are: what did you notice when you expressed your anger in your body? And what does my anger want me to know? So what it should be: what did I notice when I expressed my anger in my body? And what does my anger want me to know? And you can use those as prompts for journaling, or you can use them like we did on Monday in a free writing context. So you might just take the prompt and write for 2 or 3 minutes without taking a pen off the paper, longer if you want to. The idea with all of these adaptations on this practice is to give you experience of expressing anger, and expressing it in a way that doesn't have real life consequences. So you're not shouting at someone who you're angry with in the moment that you're feeling that anger, so that afterwards you can then make clear decisions about how you want to express that anger, how you want to act in your life with that anger going forward. Okay, I'm going to check out whether there are comments and questions now. Are there any? Let me see if I don't think I can. I have to look over here. Excuse me. There I am. I don't think there are any questions there, but if anyone watching does have questions about this practice, I'll stay on for a little bit longer, so you can put them in the comments. I'll just the comments under this video, and also you can always come back with questions and put them in the comments on this video at a later stage or date as well. So yeah, I will wait a bit longer. I'm going to put any questions in here. But if there aren't, then I'll probably bring the video to a close and then take any questions later on. If you're watching this now live or you're watching it as the video, I'm happy to answer questions about this practice in our Facebook group in the comments later. All right, thanks so much for being here with me, and I wish you a great day, and also let me know what comes out of exploring your anger with this practice.